An alien woman took shelter in my tent. I couldn't turn her away. The desert winds were merciless that night, carrying sand like tiny needles that stung any exposed skin. I had pitched my tent in a narrow canyon, thinking the rocky walls would shield me from the worst of it. My campfire flickered weakly, shadows dancing on the fabric walls as I settled onto my sleeping mat, weary from a day of navigating the barren wasteland. I thought I was alone, until I heard the faint rustle outside. At first I dismissed it as the wind, but then there was a voice, a soft melodic sound that didn't belong to any creature I had ever encountered. Hesitant, I unzipped the tent flap. Standing there was a woman, or at least she appeared human at first glance. Her skin shimmered faintly under the firelight, like moonlight on water, and her eyes were a deep violet, glowing softly in the darkness. "I need shelter," she said, her voice trembling, though she did not seem entirely fearful. Her clothes were torn, dusty, and her slender frame shivered in the cold. I blinked, stunned. I'd read about alien encounters, seen movies, and even heard wild stories on the news, but I never expected this. Come in," I said, stepping aside. Logic screamed at me to call someone, to radio for help, but some instinct, perhaps empathy, overrode caution. She stepped inside gracefully, and the air around her seemed warmer, calmer, as if she carried an aura of serenity with her. "I'm Nivara," she said. I was separated from my ship. I didn't know where to go. I nodded, keeping a safe distance. "I'm Jake. You're safe here. Just sit by the fire. It's not much, but it'll keep you warm." She knelt, folding her legs beneath her in a way that seemed almost unnatural to me, yet elegant. The firelight reflected off the faint metallic sheen of her skin. Her presence was otherworldly, but I noticed the subtle signs of exhaustion and fear. Somehow she wasn't a threat, just lost. For a few minutes we simply watched the fire. Then she spoke again, quieter this time. The hunters, they came for me. I barely escaped. I didn't know if anyone would help." I swallowed hard, feeling the weight of her words. In all the solitude of the desert, I had never imagined I would shelter an alien. But I couldn't turn her away. "Hunters? Like people?" asked cautiously. "No, not exactly. My kind. We are not meant to be discovered by humans. But some, they want what I carry," she said, touching her chest lightly. "I just wanted to hide to survive the night." I could see that she was telling the truth. Her eyes, so unlike anything human, held no malice, only vulnerability. I fetched a blanket from my gear and handed it to her. She hesitated, then accepted it with a faint smile that made my chest tighten inexplicably. Hours passed. We exchanged cautious words at first, then stories. She spoke of distant planets, of civilizations that thrived among the stars, and of the kind of life I couldn't even imagine. I told her about Earth, about deserts and forests, about the fragility of human life in contrast to her species' longevity. Somehow, the conversation felt natural, as though our minds had bridged the gap between worlds. At some point, fatigue overcame her, and she curled up near the fire, leaning slightly against the tent wall. I watched her sleep, marveling at the alien grace in every motion. Her breathing was steady, her glowing eyes dimmed, and for the first time that night, I felt a sense of calm in the endless, cold desert. A sudden noise outside shattered the fragile peace, a scraping, deliberate sound, followed by a low, resonant hum. My heart leapt into my throat. "Hunters." I looked at Nivara. Her eyes snapped open, wide and alert, violet light flaring. "They found me," she whispered, voice barely audible over the wind. I grabbed my backpack, shoving it in front of the tent flap. "Stay down. I'll handle this," I said, though I had no weapons, no plan, only instinct. A shadow moved beyond the firelight. I could see vaguely humanoid figures, taller than normal humans, their limbs too long, their heads slightly angled. Nivara stood abruptly, placing a hand on my shoulder. "No," she said firmly. "You mustn't fight them. I can redirect them." Her glow intensified, bathing the tent in a soft violet hue. The figures outside froze, then slowly retreated, as if invisible barriers pushed them back. I could only gape in awe. After what felt like an eternity, the night returned to silence. Nivara sank back to the ground, breathing heavily but unhurt. "They will not follow me here again," she said. "For now you have saved me. I will not forget it." The desert wind died down, leaving only the crackle of the dying fire. I realized I had shared something extraordinary, something that would stay with me for the rest of my life. She was more than an alien. She was a being of light and resilience, and for one night, our paths had crossed in the vast emptiness of the desert. As dawn approached, she stood, her glow fading with the first rays of sunlight. "I must leave," she said softly. "But Jake, thank you. You chose compassion over fear. That is rare among your kind." I nodded, unable to find the right words. "Will I see you again?" She smiled, touching my arm gently. "Perhaps, in another time, another place." And with that, she stepped out of the tent and vanished into the brightening horizon, leaving only a faint shimmer in the morning light. I sat alone in the desert, the fire reduced to embers, a sense of wonder and emptiness washing over me. That night I had learned that kindness could transcend worlds, and that sometimes the most extraordinary encounters happen when you choose to open your heart. A sudden noise outside shattered the fragile calm, a scraping, deliberate sound, followed by a low, resonant hum. My heart leapt into my throat. "Hunters!" I looked at Nivara. Her violet eyes flared, glowing brighter than ever. "They found me," she whispered. I grabbed my backpack, ready to confront them, though I had no real defense. The shadows of tall, unnerving figures loomed outside the firelight, their limbs slightly elongated, their movements unnaturally precise. Fear gripped me, but Nivara placed a steady hand on my shoulder. "No," she said firmly. "You mustn't fight. I can redirect them." Her entire body radiated a soft violet light, filling the tent with warmth and brilliance. The hunters outside froze, as if invisible barriers pushed them back. Slowly, they retreated into the darkness. Exhausted but unharmed, Nivara sank to the ground. "They will not follow me here again. You have saved me tonight," she said softly, her voice carrying gratitude and something more, something I could not name. As dawn broke, she stood, her glow fading with the sunlight. "I must leave," she said, touching my arm gently. "But Jake, thank you. You chose compassion over fear. That is rare." I swallowed hard, words failing me. "Will I see you again?" She smiled, serene and mysterious. "Perhaps, in another time, another place." And then she was gone, leaving only a faint shimmer in the desert morning. I sat alone by the dying embers of the fire, the desert silent once more. That night had changed something in me. I realized that acts of kindness, no matter how small, or how extraordinary the being they touch, can bridge even worlds. Nivara had taught me that courage isn't just about fighting, but about opening your heart when fear tempts you to close it.